Let's go over to Hillary Clinton and her lackeys. The League of Conservation Voters cares a lot about the environment. They've done some very, very good work there, and I'm sure they have good people over there. Now, they have done something historic. They've decided to endorse Hillary Clinton for the first time ever before the primaries. Now, normally they wait till after the primaries. Now, look, I take it's supposed to be nonpartisan, but in the real world, obviously, they're progressive at this point because the Republicans are barbarians, and none of them are interested in doing anything about climate change. If there was a non-barbarian Republican, I'm sure that they would actually consider it, right? But the party has basically eliminated itself when it comes to the issue of the environment by saying we don't give a damn about the environment. We don't believe that it's being affected in any way, shape, or form, despite all of the mountains of scientific evidence. So what are they going to do? Wait till they see who the Republican candidate is? No, I don't blame them for that at all. But wait a minute, we haven't had the primary yet. Why are you endorsing Hillary Clinton above someone like Bernie Sanders? Well, here's what they say. Gene Kropinski, he is the Action Fund's president. Hillary Clinton is without a doubt the most effective leader to stand up to big polluters and push forward an aggressive plan to tackle climate change and get it done. Without a doubt, really. Well, turns out Senator Bernie Sanders has a stronger voting record in Congress on this issue than Hillary Clinton does. Well, that's only according to the League of Conservation Voters. Now, wait a minute. That's your group. You say Bernie Sanders is better than Hillary Clinton according to the voting record. But before you even gave anybody a chance to vote, you said no. Without a doubt, Hillary Clinton is the best on this issue, despite our own group's voting record and our own group's announcements as to who was actually better, which is Bernie Sanders. So what's going on here? You see, this is the establishment, and this is how it works. I don't doubt that everybody at the League of Conservation Voters are wonderful people. Look, if you're in the business of trying to help the environment, fight off the environment, you're not a bad guy, you're a great guy, right? You're not doing that to get rich. There's not a ton of money in it, right? In terms of the actual people who work there. Now, we've got their faces here. It's Gene Kropinski is the guy that I quoted. And then you've got Carol Browner, who's the board chairwoman there. Now, remember, she served as the Environmental Protection Agency administrator under President Bill Clinton. And this is how politics works, right? Hey, you remember when you scratched my back and made me the head of the EPA, or your husband did? Wouldn't that be nice again? Okay, that's part of the equation. And this is their job, right? They're in Washington, and their job is to get back into power, and then and they would say, to be fair to them, and to effect change. I can't effect change unless I'm back in power, and I can't be back in power unless I'm going to support the person who's most likely to win, Hillary Clinton. But there is a second element here. Now, all these groups in Washington, whether they're conservative, and almost all the conservative groups are this way, or they're progressive groups, well, they need money, right? It's not like they're billionaires. These are good people working hard for not great salaries, just middle-of-the-road salaries, right? I imagine. But somehow the League of Conservation Voters does have a lot of money. League of Conservation Voters spent $30 million in the 2014 elections, a record amount for the group. Now, wait a minute. How in the world did they get $30 million? Well, some of it is from small donors. I'm sure of that, right? And they put out emails saying, hey, if you care about the environment, and good people who really do give them money, and for good reason, they're not a bad group. I don't want you to misunderstand me, okay? But I am also sure that some of that $30 million came from very large donors. And the very large donors are almost all on Hillary Clinton's side. So now if the League of Conservation Voters would like to have a budget as large as they do to be able to spend that kind of money, well, then you would probably want to do whatever your donors tell you to do. And again, I'm using them as an example, but their donors are perfectly great people, I imagine, because they actually care about saving the environment. So I'm not saying they're bad guys. I'm just telling you how the system works. If you look at this and you go, an environmental group that has said for all these years Bernie Sanders' voting record is better, then comes out and supports Hillary Clinton. Gee, why? Well, that's my job to break it down for you here and explain why. They're not bad people, but the results that they reach are based, honestly, partly on politics and partly on who's funding them. And it turns out the establishment, unsurprisingly, is on Hillary Clinton's side. Now, you do with that whatever you like, but that is the reality. Otherwise, they most certainly would have waited to see what happens in the primaries before they jumped in and said, Hillary, definitely, without a doubt, it is Hillary Clinton. Right? Right. Definitely, without a doubt, Hillary Clinton. All right. Now you know. Okay.
Another international issue that you signed in on last year was the Alberta Clipper, a pipeline from Alberta that brings tar sands, oil sands, directly into Wisconsin to the U.S. Midwest. This is some of the dirtiest fuel in the world. And how can the U.S. be saying climate change is a priority when we're mainlining some of the dirtiest fuel that exists?
Well, there hasn't been a final decision made.
Are you willing to reconsider it?
Probably not. And you know, but we haven't finished all of the analysis. So as I say, we've not yet signed off on it, but we are inclined to do so, and we are for several reasons. Going back to one of your original questions, we're either going to be dependent on dirty oil from the Gulf or dependent on dirty oil from Canada.